I am the director and the creator of the Herbalism program here at SWIHA. And a little backdrop on me, just so that you know that I am qualified to do this work. I have been an herbalist since 1979, and the owner of SWIHA and I partnered in 1997 to begin this herbalism training, and we worked it so that it would be an herbalism school with national standing. So any student that comes to the SWIHA herbalism program is going to be competitively trained, if you will, to be suitably proficient anywhere in the United States, as well as the offerings that SWIHA provides, which is the accreditation, national accreditation. So I have formal training in plant studies, undergraduate training, and also some graduate training specific in botany. And I also have been trained, mentorship was the way it was done in my generation. So I mentored with many nationally renowned herbalists, and so had hands-on experiential training, as well as I believe that the plants have been my greatest teachers. So I have worked in partnership with the plants as it relates to human and plant relationships for many, many decades now. I have written 5 textbook manuals that correspond with the curriculum, so that we have a good backdrop of literature to resource from. And I am the owner of my company called Botanica, and mostly what that is at this point is I do a small clinical practice. So herbalists take care of folks one-on-one for guidance for health and well-being. And that is something I continue to do so that it keeps me current, so that I can teach that aspect in the Western Herbalism program, as well as I train others to teach herbalism. And so that's a big part of what I do now. I also am a professional member of the only guild in the United States, the American Herbalist Guild, which is a rigorous acceptance process, and I've been a member there for 18 years. And I also am a professor at the Southwest College of Naturopathic Medicine in the Department of Botanical Medicine. So that gives you a little backdrop to know that we have been doing this school here at SWIHA for 21 years now. So we have a very good system, and we have a wonderful way of giving you a variety of opportunities to learn this art, this craft, and this science. So this is briefly the ways that you can enter in to the Western Herbalism curriculum here at SWIHA, and in a little while, Janelle will go over all of the different aspects of how you might make a choice if you're considering herbalism as your vocation. So oftentimes people say, well, what can I do when I finish this program? So we have lots of different ways that graduates are being employed or in self-employment with herbalism. And so we have many herbalists like myself will choose to be educators. And so part of the training that we provide in the education in the program certainly makes ready for people to be able to do that. Apothecary is another word for an herbal store, if you will. It's a place where botanical remedies are dispensed, and we have a student apothecary where the students learn, as well as they are sometimes placed out in the community at apothecaries. And so this could very well be a companion thing that an herbalist might do if they go into private practice as a clinician, for instance, to be able to sell herbal products from their own apothecary. And so we have 2 graduates that I know have large apothecaries, as well as several graduates here and in other states own their own retail brick and mortar facilities that sell all kinds of herbal products. Many herbalists choose to be self-employed, but the chain stores that are here, Natural Grocers, Whole Foods, and Sprouts, all employ graduates of this program, as well as a private pharmacy, medicinary, at the Naturopathic College employs graduates of our program here. We have students who have been trained to do public education and work on a national, on a county level, as well as an individual private level as self-employment, to teach about plants out in this environment, as well as when people move. I have just touched base with a student today from Pennsylvania who's doing plant walks in Pennsylvania from the curriculum that she learned here. So while we emphasize Sonoran medicine, you become proficient in a way that you can learn about plants wherever you live after you finish this program. So specific aims that everyone gets is to be able to take care of themselves with holistic and natural remedies, to learn how to educate others at a formal as well as an informal way, in informal ways with family and friends and beloveds. We also, as I mentioned, learn to identify the native plants in our environment and learn how to properly write and present in writing herbal information. We have a large medicine garden, the largest plant medicine garden in Arizona, where students actively participate, as well as learning about plants in the wild environment. So students have much hands-on experience working with and being with the plant. We have a huge portion of our curriculum that includes pharmacy or medicine making. So lots of students are interested in learning exactly how to follow the recipes and do scientific calculations so that they can have economy if they're going to sell these products, so that they can be successful and not wasteful. And so we have a huge portion of our curriculum that includes active hands-on medicine making. And then we have areas where students will choose their own specialty and calling, so that not everyone comes out with exactly the same degree, but gets a wonderful overview presentation of all of the many ways that American herbalists are making a living. Mm-hmm. So yes, indeed, all of the students in our program, the specialty plants that are learned are of the Sonoran Desert, because that is where we live. And so we take field studies throughout the year, and we go no further than 100 miles south or 100 miles north of here and include all of the boundaries of the Sonoran Desert. This plant representations of plants that are unique to this part of the country and any part of the world. So while we do teach the desert medicine, we incorporate in our Materia Medica, which is the knowledge-based portion of the curriculum, 150 other plants that are used by herbalists all over the world, as well as the know-how to be able to ascertain what it is that you might need to know in any other habitat. So while you learn this habitat, you learn the skills to be able to learn any other habitat. So if you move away from here when you're finished with your curriculum, then you have the ability to learn those things. So I often say to the students who are coming and applying is that to build right into their schedule, for every hour that you're in the classroom, to build 1 hour to spend in your projects and your homework, in your studies in preparation for examinations. Yes, we do have examinations, quarterly examinations, excuse me. And there's many hands-on, active, experiential projects, we call them, so that you learn, you watch them either demonstrated or you learn the book aspects of it, and then you apply that in your project, and it solidifies the information. So there is a hefty amount of outside work to do, and again, I would say for every hour in the classroom, which is somewhere between 6 and 8 a week, will also be 6 to 8 a week outside of the classroom to do various kinds of homework assignments. So again, our field trip destinations go no further than 100 miles north or 100 miles south, which are two different elevations of desert communities. And so we go, but I try to give all the students an opportunity to visit the desert in many different presentations. So we visit areas that have creek beds, mostly dry creek beds, but those places will have water aquifers, and so the plants will be unique there. So we really explore the full extent of the Sonoran Desert by visiting east, west, north, and south, and we carpool and we go in community to some very special wild places out here in the Sonoran. So this, I went through our, so SWIHA is so much more than just the Western Herbalism School, although we're very proud of our program here. And so I went through the whole catalog of this, our wonderful school, and looked at things that might make sense, complement your studies that would serve you as an herbalist. So any of the nutrition courses would be very useful. This one in particular, because many herbalists, the first one there, HN111, because many herbalists will choose to do clinical work, which is one-on-one supporting others in their health goals. And oftentimes we need to address nutrition before we use herbalism. So anything that would help herbalists understand how to support change and help people make change, which is a very difficult thing, would be very useful to a SWIHA student. Also, we learn companion studies with flower essences, and this would also be very, very helpful to herbalists because it addresses the emotional aspects of illness. Ayurveda is an old, ancient tradition of herbalism that includes diet and yoga and many other things, but they have a rich tradition in herbalism as well. So any Ayurvedic knowledge would support an herbalist in their work. Anything that has to do, once you have scientific fact, to combine with intuitive knowing will be very helpful to support holistic education and using that in one's career. Stress management will help on a personal as well as a knowledge base to support, again, others in the clinical setting that are trying to improve themselves. Soap notes is a mechanical thing that would be very helpful for any clinician to learn those skills. Sacred agreements, again, we have in the context of the founder as well as the school as a whole, we have a spiritual and invisible and energetic quality that we always include as very, very important to the aspect of what we do in terms of what we learn and who we want to be in service to others. Nutrition, again, assessing nutrition with others and coaching them would be an excellent thing for an herbalist to have a skill set. Communication skills, well, I don't think that needs any explanation. In order to be effective, you are best to be able to communicate well. And then one of the things that the herbalism program specifically is not focusing on necessarily is doing the social networking and the social media. So any of the courses at SWIHA that would support that process for web page development, those kinds of things could be very helpful to contemporary herbalists. So we have a experiential aspect as well as an academic portion of our curriculum. And so our practicums are internships or externships. And the internships are those that are supervised by my herbal staff here on campus at SWIHA. And those include preparing all of the medicines that for every plant that we learn, we serve the students all kinds of samples of the ways that herb should be delivered as remedy in or outside of the body. We have a team of students who put that together all year long. So they cook and they prepare herbal medicines for their students, for their fellow students. We also run a student apothecary so that students know how to do that, as well as so that students have access to affordable, at-cost botanicals. And so that apothecary is run by the herb staff, but we also have students who work as assistants in the apothecary to learn how to do that. We have a full library so that students have access to all the research they need here at SWIHA, that you could get through this curriculum and never leave our library. But certainly we take you on library visits as part of our field studies. But we do have students who are part of the library, and they do the organizing, and they read, and they give reports to the other students to let them know which books are good to use for which kinds of research and things like that. We offer a private, guided, supervised internship where students are able to learn how to do herbal prescription, and they do that for a whole year and specialize in that. Many of our students tend the gardens, and so this is a wonderful way to make relationship with the plants, offset the academic portion, be outside, learn to identify, learn to recognize, learn to love the plant. It requires dirty fingernails, though. Research and writing is very, very important. So many herbalists make a living writing herb books, and so we teach you how to approach a subject that you need to know more about, as well as how to present authentic and legitimate herbal literature. And then externship off-site, we have several of the past students who now own retail facilities will have interns in their stores. And so they all have different kinds of stores, and we kind of match up the student to the store to have that occur. We have several graduates that are also private clinicians, and they have graciously offered to let students shadow in those clinical settings throughout the year. We have something called a healing group, and this is a supportive group that meets, one, to learn how to do that kind of thing. So sometimes people want to do more than just one-on-one support, that they might want to do small groups. So this opportunity was primarily developed for students who come to this program and they feel like they need to learn how to use herbs for their own health and well-being. So they have imbalances or diseases or concerns about their own health, and they want to focus on themselves for a whole year. So they are guided under supervision in a support group to be able to do nothing but that, learn about and take and be guided with herbs so that they can improve their own health and well-being. Nature Steward is a program where students who are really interested in doing outdoor educational work get to go with this one supervisor, very small, usually we only have 6 max. Sometimes we've had 8 once, but usually we have 4 or 5 students who truck around Arizona beyond the Sonoran Desert with a botanist/herbalist who teaches them about the plants beyond the Sonoran Desert with all kinds of harvesting and medicine making and attunement to these plants. It's a wonderful opportunity for students who are rigorous and able to get out into higher elevations and things like that. Myself and another staff member are frequently invited to speak at national conferences. And so some of the students have a goal that they would like to do public speaking. And so they train with us while we do our preparation for our conferences, and then partially to whatever level they can evolve to, help prepare and put on public speaking for audiences of well over 300 people. So that's a wonderful opportunity. Usually we have a couple of students each year that help with that. And also many herbalists around the country now are making a living, at least partially, by selling their wares, their homemade products at farmers market. So we provide the training for students who have an interest in doing that in the long term to work with herbalists that we know who are doing that as part of their making a living as an herbalist. So they learn from every aspect of preparing the medicines, packaging the medicines, and attending the market, and do that for a whole year so that when they're finished, they can do that on their own. So that's our practicum. So the American Herbalist Guild is the only professional organization that recognizes professionalism in the United States, and it was started by very premier, recognizable American herbalists. And so it is a goal for graduates of this program to do the additional work of seeing clients that would enable them to apply to be able to call themselves a registered herbalist in the future. However, the American Herbalist Guild does all kinds of things to advocate clinical work among herbalists in America. So there is a student enrollment that is very useful because they put out a professional journal and you can get discounts on conferences, which is a very good thing for herbalism students of beginning as well as professional herbalists like myself to attend these conferences to keep our learning up to date. Also, the American Botanical Council is a research organization, an international organization that keeps us up to date on laws and research that are done on botanical. The United Plant Savers is a conservation organization that saves land by purchasing it up to where medicinal plants that may be going endangered or extinct, so that that won't happen to them. And then the Herb Research Foundation is an organization that helps establish the standards for safety, so that we know the classifications of herbs in terms of which ones should be used under supervision with professionals, which ones can be sold in commerce in the marketplace, and how do we approach dosaging and dispensing of those botanicals. So all of these organizations are good for us to support, and they support us in our work as herbalists. And now it's time for JoAnn to go over the curriculum and the specifics of that.
JoAnn,
Yeah.
so excited to be working with you again.
Thank you.
Inspiring people to come and get excited about our herbalism program. It's an amazing one. So part of our mission is to help inspire individuals to discover their gifts and graces, so that they can go and support them as they share their talents in the world in a loving and profitable way. So we really want to help inspire that passion within you and figure out what it is that you can do in this world and go make money and be good at doing it. So you no longer have to be a job, because you're doing something that you love to do and make it happen. We've got 3 ways that you can come into an herbalism program. The first is our diploma. That's going to be a 14-month opportunity for you to learn, and you will come in October. Classes start this year on October 3rd, and then you will finish out in December of 2019. Most of your focus is going to be all on herbalism classes. You will get some of the business classes and then some supporting classes like life coaching and an introduction into nutrition. If you want to add some bells and whistles to the herbalism program, then you can look at one of our associate degree programs. And that is a 2-year program. So you add 10 more months, and in those 10 months, you can focus on something like the holistic nutrition, getting 200 hours of where you focus on what it is to eat healthy and using foods to help heal the body from the inside out. And it's an amazing program to work in with herbalism. Plant foods, plants, all help to heal the body. And then if you're like, well, I'm maybe not so much into nutrition, you want to go into our associate degree. There we go. And this can be one where you will pull something maybe like Reiki or cranial unwinding or polarity or yoga or reflexology. So you want to put some body work opportunities into your practice. Then you can have that along with herbalism. So we've got lots of ways that you can spice up your herbalism practice if you want to come in and do an associate degree and add some additional information in there and focus in on some classes, some of the transpersonal psychology classes, and you will also get some different business classes that get added in, and then do some fun classes like JoAnn was mentioning earlier, the Ayurveda and stress management. Now those come as part of the package deal.
So we have a question from Cassandra, who's Chandler. She's wondering, is everything that JoAnn went over part of the 700 hours?
Yes, it is. So anything that's herbalism that JoAnn talked about, that will be whether you go to the diploma or the associate degree route. The only thing that the associate degree adds is additional education that is not specific to herbalism.
And if there's any questions, you can go ahead and type them in for now.
If you're looking to apply for financial aid, then you go into the FAFSA website, which is actually fafsa.ed.gov. So that one right up there, you've got to add an ED to it. And then use our school code. Oh, you can still do it there? Okay. And then you can go in and put in our school code. It takes about 3 business days before it loads into our system. So in that 3 days, we can look for an appointment time to schedule you in to see what you would qualify for. And then once you've got that done, we need to put you through an application process. And so with this program, because it's a little more intense than some of our other ones, our lovely Miss JoAnn likes to go through and invite the people to come into the classroom, do an observation of the class, fill out some information so we can get to know you just a little bit and see who you are and what you like to do. And if this program is going to be for you, like she said, the rigors of the homework, it's a little bit more intense than maybe taking our Reiki program, where it's more experiential. It's not going to have as much homework with a program like that. So we want you to know that up front you're going to get some extra homework and it's going to be all worth it. So we've got these opportunities to check things out. And then once you've completed your application process, gone through the observation of this, then you'll interview with Miss JoAnn, and then everything, once you're approved, then I can set up the time to get you enrolled. And then we do have an in-person open house that will be coming up in August. And so if anybody's out there local, you want to come in and ask questions specifically, you're more than welcome to do that. And of course, it will also be broadcast live, so you can pick it up that way as well.
And right now it's not an online program, correct?
That is correct. We get lots and lots of inquiries about this being online. However, because it's both indoor and outdoor classroom, and we are teaching to the plants around here, it's not been set up and designed yet to be an online program. Any other questions that we have?
I don't think so. Liz Doe just commented that this program is amazing and it's one of the greatest adventures of their life. We just have a lot of people here. You talked to Noelle recently. She's starting in February.
Wonderful.
She's very excited. Amisha, Florian, Kathy, Melissa. So just a lot of people interested. And then this is the link where they can actually watch one of JoAnn's classes. So you can actually see her teaching and experience that in class, you know.
Yeah, that'll give them a good idea of what one of the types of classes that we offer.
Yeah. So any takeaways from today that you could say is like an early start into coming into the program, like what they should get a start on, like learning scientific names or tips?
Oh, I think going around in their neighborhoods or when they go out for a walk in nature to just notice the plants, take a look, and just kind of have a vision of observation, as well as perhaps drink a cup of herbal tea.
Yes, and then we have one more question on the webinar here to know. If they start out with the 700, can they pursue an associate? Just add that in.
Absolutely. You are always welcome to upgrade your program as you come in. If you start with the 700 hours, it's always easy to move you up. It's more challenging if you start in the bigger program and then moving you back down to the smaller program. It often ends up with out-of-pocket costs. So I always suggest, if you're not quite sure, start with the 700 first, because everything you take in the 700 has to be completed in the associate degree program. So start there, see what you think, and if you want to add in, you can always do that. You can even graduate from the 700-hour program, take a break for 6 months or whatever, and then come back in and re-enroll and finish out what you might want to do with the associate.
Wonderful.